Hi, this is In the Middle.
With Kes and Jamie.
Hi everyone. Hi Jamie.
Hi, Kes.
Hope everyone's doing fine at this, wintry season of the year, right? And hence the snow. It's all fake, obviously. But anywho,
Spent a lot of money for the projection
right,
around here.
yeah, that's what we're doing. So today we're going to talk about vaccines and the exemptions and sport. Would like to know more. Also, how many vaccination shots can you have? And you know what? What's happening in the Republican Party? So, Jamie, what is happening in the Republican Party? What the hell's going on? People are leaving, people are joining, people are happy. And I'm bringing this up because of obviously it's a first year anniversary.
Right.
Obviously not
Of the
celebrating.
riots.
Of the riots
On
that
January
happened on
6th.
January
At
6th.
the
So,
Capitol.
well, you brought to me some information about the fact that there's so much going on in the Republican Party, and that people in the middle of America, I guess, right?
Right.
Or are so, I guess, into it and sort of almost support it. And political views are being changed. Tell me more about this.
Well, it's very interesting because a lot of people that have been historically long-time Republicans, all their lives, have left the party, or are very critical of some of the things that happened on January 6th. And then the same people are being ostracized, if not completely cut out of the Republican Party, even though they've been longtime party members and leaders. But then you have some other people that have been very engaged by all this stuff that's happened. What concerns me the most is some of the things that you hear about and read about. It's like in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster County, there's these two people that were. The man was a minister and his wife worked in the church.
Right.
And they decided they were going to run for school board. And they came back from January 6th. Energized and enthusiastic. And so, and that's a minister. I mean, I don't know. What concerns me as a registered Republican, what concerns me is how can you be supportive of such actions and behavior? I mean, I can understand the frustration and so forth, and the reason why a lot of people have been so upset about this stuff is because they've been ignored. But, and also these crazy agendas have been pushed, left agendas have been pushed on them, and they're pushing back, and they're pushing back hard.
Right.
And I've always said that people need to be careful of that stuff because they're going to push hard.
Well, any extreme is always bad.
Yeah.
It never really works out. There's always got to be something, sort of a compromise somewhere in the middle. But it seems like the Republicans are supporting Democrats in that county, right?
In that particular county.
In that particular county.
Well, the classic long-term Republicans who were like establishment Republicans were supporting the Democrats that were running against these new
Republican.
Yeah,
Wow,
right.
That's insane. That is crazy. Yeah. What does that mean? What does that mean for the party at large?
Time will tell. I mean, I think that the way it is right now, if you're not in the Trump camp, you're against us, no matter what. And people come and go. I've always said, that the Bushes come and go, the Clintons come and go, the Obamas come and go, even Trump comes and goes. But how we are as a people in the end of all this is what's important. And that's what concerns me the most is lowering our standards of what's good behavior, what's proper behavior, and what kind of message are you sending to your kids?
Right. To your kids, to the future generation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how you behave.
Yeah.
Well, I saw mom and dad do it like that. I'm like,
That's true. Well, we'll see how this continues, and we'll follow on the Republican and the Democratic Party. Yeah. And at some point, I hope we will go into a deeper detail. What are the main big differences between those two parties?
I do want to point out there's one thing that's happening, though. There's more and more of a push for a third party.
Yes, and I think that's literally that you kind of took off my tongue.
I'm sorry.
But that's the whole point. I was like, let's see what the difference. I wanted to make sure that everybody sort of understands that there are two parties in the states that are the main big parties.
Right.
ruling parties. But then, is there a space for anybody else? Is there a space for others to be there where the power is, to be
Right.
able to really sort of voice the people's concerns at large? Because I don't believe at this point that those two parties are really doing that.
It's kind
And
of.
what the good difference is between the two.
I will say this one thing real fast, is that you could kind of say that one of the third parties was very successful, because the Tea Party and that group, they took over the Republican Party.
Right.
So you could say that the Republican Party is now the Tea Party, because they were taken over by the Tea Party,
Right.
and the Republicans that were there, the establishment Republicans, were just kind of left out in the cold. So that, if you look at it that way, we've actually had a third party that was successful and overtook most of my adult life, most of my life. I mean, I come from a very Democratic family, and where I'm from originally in Tennessee, everybody was a Democrat. I mean, to find a Republican in our home county was like finding a unicorn. I mean, it was just like
You are a unicorn to all of us.
Yes. Turns out, well, anyway, another story. But anyway, it has changed so much, because now the Democratic Party just pushed us all out, because we were kind of blue dogs, which is kind of conservative Democrats, and they pushed us all out. And then a lot of people switched over to the Republican Party. Well, the Republican Party was much more in line with what we were, which was classic. Don't tax me too much. Be careful with my money. Take care of the roads and all those kinds of things. And now the Republicans and the Democrats are just as bad on spending. They've gotten crazy with, whoever's in power is the one that's just spending money like crazy. But as far as my position with the party, I mean, when I switched over to Republican a number of years ago, it wasn't like I left on my own from the Democratic Party. They pushed me out, practically, because it was their agenda and their way, their approach. There was no room for me. And now that with the Republican Party, I don't know if there's room for me there either. So I think that a lot of us are just going to become independents.
Yeah, that's definitely a way forward for a lot of people. And we'll definitely follow up on this and on you and you being your independent self. But thank you. Jamie,
Yes.
come on. Tell me, do you know how many vaccines can you have?
Apparently 12.
Well, no,
Ish.
11. Allegedly 11.
Allegedly
I think that
11.
the wording should really be allegedly 11.
But headed on the way to get my 12.
The 12th, right? That's what you were doing. So basically, there's this gentleman in India who is stating that getting vaccinated has helped him with pain, migraines, joint pains, and all sorts of other things.
Mental illness.
That obviously has not yet been confirmed on either side of the spectrum.
Come on. I mean, this looks like that job.
Insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
come
first
on.
of all, I mean, how crazy is this? You have people that do not want to get vaccinated for all sorts of reasons.
He's going to take them all.
And then
anyway.
this guy who wants to take all of the vaccines.
Here,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but it's
Blow me
just
up.
hilarious when
Blow
I
me
read
up.
this. I mean, 11, allegedly 11. Now, what we do know, that 8 have been confirmed. And the way it happens in India that well, actually, they're trying to figure out how the hell did that happen. Now, they have a system, a government system that tracks the vaccinations, and one of the things that was stated by the government officials was that there must have been a lag of time between, the information has actually been put in. Hence, he was able to then get more and more and more vaccines.
Right.
But imagine this is an older, sort of senior gentleman trying to get those vaccines, getting them when you have others that have not been able to get access. But it's just the statement that he makes that those vaccines make him feel much healthier. At least with whatever, right? I don't know. I do not believe that there's a medical, because there is nothing there.
Here's what I think. I think the U.S. Army needs to go there and capture this guy.
Absolutely.
Bring him here.
Study
We're going to
him.
study him, because if anybody's going to go down from the vaccine, it's going to be him first.
Right?
If anything's going to mutate, he's going to be the first one. So let's
11.
study him.
Seriously. Allegedly. Allegedly 11. Confirmed 8.
We confirmed 8. The government confirmed
Seriously.
that.
Seriously insane. To me, at least. I mean,
So,
two
two
having
of them
to
were
put something in your body that's not that doesn't have to be there is questionable by all standards. And there are some people that are really against it, some people that are for it, some people that don't care. They'll just do it.
Someone that will take one for
And
everybody.
right, and one they'll take it for everyone. But again, just a story we thought we'll bring to you because, allegedly 11 is not enough.
But follow this guy. Follow this guy.
Definitely, yes. And I would not be surprised if he will get captured. We won't hear about him for years to come, and then suddenly go, yes, migraine.
And he's 20 years younger.
Right, migraine resolution. It's like 11 vaccines from COVID.
Yep.
Yay!
Then you felt bad.
You and me have watched this tennis player at the US Open.
Yep.
And his name is Novak Djokovic.
Yes.
It's a little hard for, my American friend.
Yeah, I'm trying to time with that little 18-year-old though.
Anyway, yes, he had an amazing match against Brookfield.
Yeah.
Fantastic match. Nonetheless, back to the point.
Yeah,
Really.
back to the point.
And the point really is that at this moment, or shortly, in Australia, a judge will have to decide whether Novak's exemption from vaccination will stand. Now, let me give you a quick rundown of what happened. Now,
He's a professional tennis
he's a professional tennis player, number one in his sport right now.
in the world.
Obviously, in the world, yes. And he is about to compete in Australian Open 2022. Had flown in. The rules state that he could be exempt if you just had COVID. Now, the controversy there really is all about the fact that he's exempt. Now, there were some photos and information leaked through that on the 16th, as he states that he had COVID, he, on the 17th, was seen at this official government thing in Serbia where he was given a stamp, or his face was put on a stamp. Anyway, he was not wearing a mask. The same day, he was playing with a young tennis player,
right,
also without wearing a mask. Now, let me give you a quick sort of reference to me, because what happens, my son plays tennis, as you know,
right,
and he competes here. Now, with COVID starting, they obviously cut down on a lot of tournaments. At some point, there were none.
Sure.
And as they came back, the USTA obviously put in a lot of guidelines and rules. Now, the rules came to a point. You're not allowed to touch a ball of your opponent. So each tennis player had their own balls that they played with. And you're not allowed to touch them with your hands. You had to pass them with a racket, throw it or whatever. So that there is at least no, passing of germs. You're not touching somebody else's thing. There was only one person who would be turning the scorecards. They would not do the usual goodbye, shaking hands at the end. It will be hit a racket. And that's something that they've been doing in most of the tournaments.
Oh, God.
I know, right? It sounded like a little fencing thing. But it's been tough and it's difficult, and it's been really hard on the players as well, because there's a period of time they didn't compete. They competed with no audience, and now the controversy here really is that the Australian people are really frustrated and are questioning the potential double standards,
right?
Because they have been in a tremendously harsh lockdowns.
Right. I mean, for
they
like
were,
a year. I mean,
yeah.
like solid.
And
yeah.
they were not able to travel. They were not able to see any of their families or friends, and so they're now questioning whether his exemption and everything surrounding that is clean and kosher, if you wish.
Right. I mean, I don't blame the people. I'd be pissed off as hell too. When I first read it, I was just like, how the hell is he getting in there into Australia? Because I knew that Australia had been so locked down, but that it's just not fair. I mean, if you're going to start giving celebrities or famous people or some wealthy people, they get a pass, but everybody else has got to stay home and all. That's when you get a revolution. I mean, that's when you start pissing off people, and they storm the Capitol and they do all these kinds of things. That's when you really start to drive people over the edge.
And then there was another tennis player, a female, that she got turned around. She was coming from Czech Republic. Also was told there was an exemption. Now he, as Novak Djokovic,
But
is staying in
But
Australia.
she's already
and-
been sent back.
Yeah, she's been sent back.
So what's
she's not
unfair about it?
fighting,
Oh,
and I
okay.
guess not. She wasn't fighting for it. Novak is, and obviously trying to say that, look, I followed the rules. What you said, there was some. Apparently, there's some kind of not quite clear rules that I guess that differ between the state, the federal. Then there is miscommunications between the organizers, the state, and the federal government. So there's a lot of sort of difficult issues that the judge will have to go through to really come down and sort of put a call on this. But for the government of for Australia, this is definitely a very questionable situation and a tough one to come out.
But the other thing that's important to remember is because they have a big election that's coming up too for the government. So the politics is playing a role in this.
Yeah.
But whoever made the decision to let him in under that, they didn't explain the rules clearly because he's not coming with enough documentation, and he didn't.
Right.
In what group, association, or state has the right to tell the federal government is when you're going to be letting someone into your borders. The federal government's always in control of the borders, not the states.
Right.
And
right.
so I think there's some
state,
mistakes.
Oh, sorry, the federal, right?
Yeah, there's some mistakes here on all levels, but I think it's a mistake on his part to be fighting
Yeah,
this.
it
makes him look
it's
bad.
going to be interesting how it turns out. It really is, as you said, it's a big story because he's a big sports person, an athlete. He's
big
always
deal.
been very quite vocal about not being vaccinated, not having to push to be vaccinated.
And that's fine. He doesn't have to.
Which right, but then the Australian people are saying, well, the rules are the rules.
Well, the rules are the rules.
And then where do we all where do we all stand, and why is it that this happens and where are we?
Yeah, and that makes people go, well, why the hell am I following them?
Correct.
So
Correct.
screw you. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why it starts pissing off people. Hell, it pisses me off, and you just listen to it. I mean, but it's not-
Absolutely.
because it's not fair.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much for being here with me.
Nice to be here at your place
Yay!
in the snow.
In the snow. Guys, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we will see you in a week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.